5 upgrades to 5 eternally hyped fragrances. What is this all about? Well, if you've been around this channel for at least a whole year, then this is nothing new to you. Now, the only thing is it's been quite a while since we did the last installment of this series. I want to say it was almost a year ago at this point. Almost. So I decided, why not bring it back? Why not infuse some newness into the series? Let's get this ball rolling. Let's get some slightly alternative content out to you guys here on YouTube. I hope you enjoy me doing things a little bit differently. So what are we doing here? Well, it is what it sounds like. I have 5 fragrances that are immeasurably hyped. Kind of. I'll get to the kind of. That you see all over YouTube. Many of you guys probably have them, have smelled them. We've talked about them a lot. We know everything there is to know about them, yet we still keep talking about them. And that's okay, but I just figured I'm going to use those as anchor points to direct you to some fragrances that are not necessarily upgrades, because that's a subjective term, but they are alternatives so that you can use something familiar to discover something new and hopefully something you love. Couple things I want to get out of the way before we get started. Number one, the fragrances I am replacing, these hyped, super popular fragrances, are not bad fragrances. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're not worth talking about. I'm not saying I don't like them. I have them all. I like them to varying degrees. I wear them on occasion. And sometimes I talk about them, not just in alternative videos like this. So please wrap your head around that before we get started. If you like these fragrances I'm replacing, you are right. Keep doing that. And the second thing I want to get out of the way is that my replacements, my alternatives, will not be fragrances that, number one, are the same but better. Number two, are cheaper versions. Number three, are stronger versions. Or number four, are more mass appealing versions that are going to drop all the panties. No. And what I meant by immeasurable kind of is that I'm actually kind of using Fragrantica as the barometer of measurement for the popularity of these fragrances, particularly the number of votes on a fragrance, not the rating, not the comments, the votes. The votes is a very, very visible way of gauging a fragrance's popularity in the fragrance community because one, it's the easiest way to show how you feel about a fragrance. It takes no time at all, so people might be more apt to just simply vote and move on. And we can also rest assured that just because of how people are, the number of votes you see on a fragrance represents a fraction of the number of people who actually know about this fragrance and maybe have even experienced it and maybe even like it and just aren't sharing their opinion about it. That's just how we are. So I think that pretty much sums up everything I had to say as a preamble. So let's dive right into this. Our first eternally hyped fragrance is one that I truly love. Truly. And I've had this bottle for a long time. Don't wear it all that much anymore, but I will wear it from time to time when I feel like it. This is La Nuit de L'Homme. I'm going to put it over here where you can see it with the contrast. This is from YSL. This is a classic. It has been super hyped over the years, maybe not quite so much these days, but it is by no means under the radar or no longer discussed these days. I'm going to use 3 descriptors to describe the scent of La Nuit de L'Homme, and then my alternative will also fit those 3 descriptors loosely. I describe La Nuit de L'Homme as spicy, sweet, and alluring. Honestly, that's all I'm going to say about it because you've probably heard about it before. So what is my alternative? It is Kilian Intoxicated. Once again, this does not smell like La Nuit de L'Homme. I'm not saying this is the same but better. It's not the same fragrance, but it does have some overlap in terms of the scent profile, just a little bit of overlap, and it can serve the same function. It's something you can wear on those more alluring evenings out when you want to smell attractive, when you want to smell interesting. It does have a little bit more of a simplicity, and this is primarily based on cardamom and coffee, maybe some warm vanilla, maybe some woods. It's spicy, it's fresh. It is very, very cardamom forward. If you like cardamom coffee, then you're going to like Intoxicated from Kilian. Now, it is by no means completely unknown. It is actually quite popular because it's been around for some time, and if you do look at the votes on Fragrantica, it has a decent number of votes, but you just don't see anyone really talking about it, at least on YouTube. In popular FragCom, they're talking about Angel Share, they're talking about Black Phantom. Those 2 fragrances were in previous episodes of this series. So I love Intoxicated. My wife loves Intoxicated. You might love Intoxicated. If you haven't tried it yet, I do recommend it. If you have tried it, let us know what you think in the comments, and there's going to be links in the description to get yourself a sample if you're interested. Up next is Jazz Club from Margiela, and I describe this as boozy, vanillic, and handsome. Jazz Club is everywhere, and because I am a trumpet player, I do play jazz. I can't tell you how many times over the years I've had people telling me,
Justin, Jazz Club must be your favorite fragrance because you're a jazz musician. Do you wear Jazz Club on your gigs? It's so perfect for that, right?
No, this was not made by people who really know much about jazz or playing jazz or jazz clubs. It is a conceptual fragrance. It is very specific. I truly appreciate that, and I love the scent. But this is not really what a jazz club smells like. But I like the idea of it. There is a beautiful tobacco. There is this booziness. It's sweet, it's vanillic, it's warm, very inviting. But what are we gonna replace it with? Boozy, vanillic, and handsome? Cartier, Pasha, Parfum. Definitely a little bit more mature smelling than Jazz Club, but by no means old fashioned. You just smell like you're more refined. You smell confident wearing this, and you smell like you're not really trying to get attention. Not to say Jazz Club is just that, but this is even less of that for sure. This is based around a sweet, boozy liquor note, some sandalwood, some warm, sweet resins that do have a little bit of a vanillic flair, and it has hints of the original Pasha DNA, that kind of clean barbershop feel, but the cleanliness, the freshness is toned way down. It is warmer, rounder, and sweeter, richer, and beautifully modern. That is Pasha Parfum. Let me know what you think. I recently did a video called 5 hyped fragrances that don't live up to the hype, something along those lines. This fragrance was included in that, but I'm just giving it a new placement in this old series because back when I filmed the first 4 parts of this series, I didn't have this fragrance, Naxos. Naxos is something I would describe as honeyed, rich, and classy. This is kind of a love or hate. There are people who go crazy about this fragrance. I think primarily because of the feedback they get when they wear it. That's okay. I just want to know, how does it smell to you if no one else is around you? If you're in a room by yourself all day long and you're wearing it, do you love it? That's what matters the most. I hope you love it. I like it. I don't love Naxos. I like it. It comes off a little bit medicinal to me. I think it's the citrus with the lavender that feels a little synthetic cleaner to me in a way, like a household cleaner with that honey and tobacco. It's very sweet. It's just loud. Once again, I think its loudness is what contributes to its abrasiveness. At least for me, it makes it be a little bit of a turnoff in some moments. It depends on the context, but the times that I have worn like that 2 to 3 sprays, I've enjoyed it. I've loved how it's developed on my skin. I like how it makes me feel. It's a good scent, but as you know, it is freaking everywhere. You'll see here on the title how many votes it has on Fragrantica. Probably almost like 12,000. So what are we recommending instead? From Zaharoff, we have Signature Tabac. This actually does have a couple of the same constituents as Naxos. It does have a honey, it does have some lavender, and per the name, it does have tobacco with some other things going on. It smells a little bit less intense. It's definitely not as loud, which I think makes it a little bit more classy. It's also not as sweet, which I think makes it a little bit more classy. It has more texture to me. The tobacco here comes off more as a tobacco leaf, rough but smooth, earthy, warm and inviting, almost a gourmand touch to this, but it is light. It is really subtle in the background, just how it encapsulates the scent. It just smells sophisticated, masculine, not overstated, but present. Let me know if you've tried Signature Tobac. I'm gonna link it down below if for some reason you haven't. Prada L'Homme. Does anyone still talk about this? I actually still see comments on Fragrantica, even as of the last couple of days, of people saying what they think about Prada L'Homme, even though it's been out since 2016. Definitely not as hyped or as talked about as it was, but still talked about quite a bit. It has been super hyped by certain content creators here on YouTube, and I think a lot of you guys enjoy this one, and I do too. I've always liked Prada L'Homme. I've had a bottle in the past. I wore that a lot. I actually got rid of it. I kind of missed it and I got it back. So I've had an interesting relationship with the fragrance. I don't wear it a ton these days, but I do appreciate it for being so beautifully fresh, soapy, and dapper. There's a cleanliness here. There's a softness here. This beautiful floral quality, iris, a little bit of this sweet ambery feel in the background. Easy to wear, but sophisticated smelling, but almost like 12,000 votes. It's been around. What else can we talk about? Not an unknown fragrance by any means. I do think it's an unsung hero from this house, and no one else really seems to talk about it all that much in comparison to some of its brothers. This is original Vetiver from Creed. I love this stuff. You may not absolutely love it because it's not a remarkable scent profile. It's not super nuanced, very complex, all that different or unique, but for what it is, the quality, the refinement of the scent, the way it comes together is stunning. It is a clean, more green style soapy fragrance. The vetiver here is woody but smooth, comes off a little bit creamy and musky as well. So if you're not a fan of vetiver, don't worry, you don't really smell vetiver in here. It's just clean and green, soapy, high quality freshness here. Get a sample first. If you are deterred by the price, you should be deterred by the price. Don't buy a full bottle, don't even think about it. There's going to be a link in the description to DecantX, who's not sponsoring this video, but they do have a discount code that I've been using with them for years now. It can save you 15% off if you're looking to make any purchase of any decant from their site. I do recommend Creed Original Vetiver be one of those. If you're looking for something that fills this function in your collection, you can wear this anywhere, anytime when you want to smell simple but dapper. And our final fragrance is from the House of Parfum de Marly. It is Percival. Percival is another fragrance that I like a lot, but I don't love because it doesn't move me, it doesn't excite me. It's a purely functional, enjoyable fragrance in my wardrobe, which is fine. I describe it as clean, musky, and bro. What do I mean by that? It has this basic feel. It has this clean, modern, shower gel, typical guy feel, but it's high quality. It is well done for what it is, but you know it, I know it, he knows it. Everybody knows this fragrance. We talk about it a lot. So let's talk about something else.
All right.
Admittedly, not a fragrance that is quite as strong as Percival as far as projection and sillage and all that stuff go, the things you can't really measure, but we kind of try to measure them. But it still lasts a long time on my skin and might do the same for you. This is Boucheron Singulier. Fresh, kind of out the shower, masculine fragrance. It does have a blue feel. I also would describe it as clean, musky, and bro, but it smells a little bit more like Bleu de Chanel. It's in that vein, but is not Bleu de Chanel. It is its own thing. It's very round, smooth, clean, again, shower gel-ish, simple smelling, borderline basic. You could wear for anything, anytime, but it's not talked about all over the place. Similar to Percival, it's not a special fragrance, but it is a very good fragrance that could have a strong function in your wardrobe, and I think you and most people will enjoy it when you smell it. Let me know if you've already tried it. If you haven't, it's going to be linked down below. It is pretty inexpensive from what I remember. If you're interested, that is Boucheron Singulier. All right, I want to know what you think of these hype fragrances and their alternatives. If you want to see another episode of this for some reason, let me know down in the comments. If you haven't tried any of these fragrances for some reason, they're in the description, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.